For service. Tune in to Rotary's influential show and podcast, sharing touching stories of service locally and abroad.
We bring you weekly guests that connect, inform, and inspire our listeners on all things service.
We highlight diverse service opportunities that appeal to both Rotarians and people driven to serve in their communities.
Tune in Sundays at 3 p.m. or anytime via podcast. It's time
to stop searching
and start serving.
Hey, it's Tom. Fossil fuels continue to have negative impacts on our environment. Luckily, there are more ways now than ever to use renewable energy in your home or business. All Energy Solar offers smart energy solutions like custom solar paneling, electric vehicle chargers, and energy storage. Solar panel systems can last for decades, meaning you can help the environment and cut back on electric bills for years to come. There are incentives and rebates available to most people who install solar energy, too. Last year, the federal solar tax credit increased to a 30% tax credit. This incentive can be used in combination with other incentives from your utility, county, or city. But don't delay or miss out, as many of these incentives are limited to only a certain number of people. So have a professional from All Energy Solar help you discover how solar can power up your property, saving on your energy costs. Call 800-620-3370 or visit allenergysolar.com.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy. But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clearing skies tonight with a low of 58, then clouds move back in Tuesday with a high of 80.
If you've been waiting to replace those appliances, don't miss Warner Stellian's lowest prices of the season. Score instant savings, then up to 10% off, and a bonus for each additional appliance you buy. Put us to the test at warnerstellian.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, hit me cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by Minnesota 350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Yes, they are, and yes, they do, and just a great organization here in Minnesota. And then there's also 350 organization that's national too, that they're part of too. So it's great to have their support, and we've been supported by them for so many years. Hey, we have Arvina Martin, executive director of Emerge Wisconsin, and Arvina, you're becoming a regular, and I like that. Oh, wow.
I like it too. It's fun. We get here, and then it's like 2 minutes, and I'm like, hey, we're done.
I know, that's good. And you have so much going on, and I think, with our people, we're Ho-Chunk, and all three of us here are Ho-Chunk, and we just love our homeland and talking about, and it's great to have you on to give us updates what's happening in Wisconsin politically, but also especially with Emerge and you being the former, and I always get this wrong, you're a former city council member, but they call it something different in that foreign state of Wisconsin, don't
yeah, we're known as alders or alder persons, older women, older men.
Older dude. No.
Older them. I actually kind of like as well for when we get our first non-binary older person.
Definitely, and you were the first Native American and obviously the first Ho-Chunk to be alderperson in, Madison, Wisconsin, which to me is one of my favorite all-time cities other than, where I live right now in the Twin Cities, but,
course.
I love, love, love Madison.
It's a great town. This is where I grew up. I live in the neighborhood that I grew up in with my mom and previously with my dad before he passed. And it's just, this is my home, and I've tried to move away for other things, and every time Madison calls me back, I'm supposed to be here. So I love it here.
Yeah, and it's just great things. Well, let's talk a little bit. We've been kind of mumble jumbling in the last few days after Governor Evers did this awesome thing, a little what did Bush used to call it, trickery, a little trickery going on here in Wisconsin, but in a good way. And I just a former high school teacher myself, just really happy to hear this news. And I wonder if you could give us a little more clarity on it, because I think I stumbled through it and mumbo jumbled it, but we were happy as heck when we were talking about it last week.
Oh, absolutely. So so the governors in Wisconsin actually have the most expansive veto power, partial veto power in the country, because they're able to, they can strike out any part of a budget bill, which means that they can take out words, letters, numbers, and create new policy in a sense, out of the words that the legislature has that passed and then sent to them. And I want to make it very clear that this is not a new thing at all. Governor Evers managed to increase funding for public schools, to continue to increase for 400 years, by crossing out numbers and letters in succession in order to make it work out like that. But he's not the first. Governor Scott Walker did the same thing. They called it the 1,000-year veto, and he struck funding from a particular program. It happened so long ago, I can't remember exactly what it was, but he did the same kind of action, took the same kind of action. So it makes it really hard then for Republicans to say, oh, the precedent is there. It's happened once before, and it happened because one of their guys, and I don't like referring to like us and them when it comes to government officials, because it should be for people doing this for all of us.
Right.
But this is not without precedent, and this is precedent that the other side has used to change the intent of what legislators had passed in order to support his own legislative or policy initiatives. So it's happened again, and it's been held up. So
is that $300 or is it $400 per student? And does that happen every year for the next 400 years, or is that just 300 per student lasts to 400 years? I'm not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm asking?
Yeah.
Really
so it was $325, I believe, per student. I'm sitting here going back and looking at my notes, and then it will grow by $325 each year.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one.
So an increase by 2033 would mean an additional $3,575 per student. So throughout the next decade, it just keeps adding.
Well, that's better than not adding, because I know Wisconsin and Minnesota, when I was young, and I'm much younger than both of you, Haley, and and I'm old enough to be Haley's grandfather, but Minnesota and Wisconsin were the beacon of education at one time in the 70s and 80s. People came all over the country to see how we were doing it. And then we slowly, I think the Reagan era really helped this out, but we slowly got defunded each year. And it's like, we're struggling, and we haven't had, money for per student in a long time here. And it sounds like great action in Wisconsin, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. And Wisconsin, yeah, as you're right. Wisconsin has always been very strong in our public school educations, public school educations. I just showed mine. No, public school education has always been such an important part of life here in Wisconsin. And the first school, one of the first schools in Wisconsin, and the first woman to teach public school was a Stockbridge-Muncie woman by the name of Electa Winnie.
Wow.
So she, and the UW Milwaukee has a whole kind of part of their university, the Electa Quinney Institute, talking about education, and we shouldn't be surprised that our public school teacher and administrator governor was able to creatively add funding to kind of restore the damage that's been done by cuts and charter schools, and being able to take money away and authority away from, say, the public schools. Public school system, the Republicans just want to see public education done away with. And I'm so proud that our governor was able to creatively get some of that funding back, and so all of our kids have a fair shake and are able to be educated and able to succeed and support themselves and help support us as they go forward. I mean, public education is really the linchpin of the whole democratic system. So
absolutely, it's the game changer. It's the equalizer. I think too, one of the things, and again, I'm old, so like my first election that I was able to vote in was for Jimmy Carter in 1980 against Ronald Reagan, and he was a union buster, and the teachers union here in Minnesota and I imagine in Wisconsin are super duper strong. And when he became president, 56% of the workers in the United States were union workers. That's down to like I think I read 20%, which is the big plan, to less rights for us and less rights for workers.
Absolutely. And just want to send a plug in about my organization, Emerge Wisconsin. We are also unionized, part of the SEIU network. So big supporter of unions and labor.
That's perfect. Hey, we're here with Arvina Martin, and we are talking Wisconsin/Minnesota politics. See how we switch that around today. And that's good because we have a lot of listeners and we want our neighbors to be good neighbors, just like we're trying to be here in Minnesota. So it's great news. We'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Life is a journey, and the Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas will help you get where you want to go. Located in downtown Minneapolis, this affordable 2-year college provides free textbooks, a laptop, meals, career coaches, and a Metro Transit pass, making DFC the perfect pathway to a bachelor's degree. Turn your dreams into reality at Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas. Apply today at dfc.stthomas.edu.
If the statistics say that 1 in 3 Native women and 1 in 6 Native men have experienced sexual assault in their lifetime, it means our whole community is affected by sexual violence. 1 is too many. Don't stand by, stand up. Don't engage in acts of sexual violence, and shut down the dirty jokes, the gossip, the victim blaming and shaming. As a community, we can change the way we respond. Contact the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition to attend a workshop to learn more. Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hi, I'm Scott Shambot from Shambot Family Dentistry. We're the fear-free, shame-free dental office. If you're having a dental emergency, we'll try and get you in the same day you call because we don't like to see anyone in pain. And we'll help you get through every appointment in the most pain-free way possible. As my daughter Rachel says,
if you don't see my dad, please see another dentist. Take care of your teeth because they're the only ones you get.
Shamblat Family Dentistry in Hopkins and St. Paul. Find them online at shamblatfamilydentistry.com or call 1-800-FIX-MY-TEETH.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is supported by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, we're here with Arvina and we're Martin, and we're talking, just having our normal conversation. It's always good to talk to another ho-chunk, and I really enjoy our conversations. I feel a lot of positive energy. I want, and this is a thing when Wendy's on, she always sends me a note, says, let them talk about what they want to talk about. And this is your opportunity. I'd like to hear maybe some updates on Emerge or what's happening in Wisconsin, or anything you'd like to talk about this segment, because I have a question for next segment. Oh, wow.
Hey, yeah. Well, we have just completed our first program year, my first program year as Emerge Wisconsin's executive director. The class of 2023 had their last training session a couple of weeks ago. So we have a small but absolutely mighty, thoughtful, and strong class of women who are ready to take on the world and to run for office. And you know what? I'm actually really, really proud that they are the first class of Emerge Wisconsin who has had a very specific training in what I call Tribes 101. And Robert, at the Wisconsin State Party Democratic Convention, you got a taste of what the class of 2023 got to experience. Theirs was a bit longer because we had, it's hard to squeeze everything into 1 hour, but we, had to do it for convention. So, now Emerge Wisconsin graduates are going to come out with an idea and an understanding of what tribal sovereignty means and why it's important to work with tribal governments on all kinds of issues that either they may normally think of, say, oh yeah, we've got to talk to tribes about this, but other issues that maybe they wouldn't think of, maybe issues and things like transportation infrastructure or, other infrastructure and management and things beyond just cultural preservation or gaming. Excuse me. So, I think that that's really exciting. And I really see the desire from Democrats to understand why working with tribes is different than working with other groups of people. We're going to get ready for our graduation, and I'm planning our summer recruiting because we are going to be opening up our applications on Labor Day, which is very, very exciting. I'm hoping to see a lot of diverse folks apply. Lots of people from, up north in Wisconsin. We need you. We need strong Democratic women to run for offices like school board. We need women to run for their city councils, town councils, village boards, county boards. And all of those elections are going to come up in spring of 2023, and they're coming up fast. And, I'm also working with some of our partner organizations to introduce them so that they can start creating authentic relationships with tribal governments within tribal communities, so that our people are represented at every level of government and not just tribal government.
Do you remember the question I asked you?
Oh boy, I didn't. I just started talking.
No, not that question. I
Oh.
meant when you did the 101. I'm sorry, I wasn't.
About land acknowledgements.
Yes.
Yes.
And I think that's an interesting point, because it's been a really kind of hip happening thing here in the last 5-6 years. And I want you to answer that.
Yeah, no, I think that people need to change the way they think about land acknowledgements. I think there are a lot of people that want to do good things, but think that just saying we exist on an area that was maintained, or where, tribe A, B, or C, and C have lived, and think that that's enough. And I want people to stop thinking about it as an end result and think about it as the first step. Acknowledging is great, but what are you going to do going forward? Whether are you going to, if you are, say, a municipality, are you going to then use that as a jumping off point to have a solid consultation relationship with the tribe that were caretakers of the land where you reside now? If you are a business, what does that mean? What can you do to give back to the tribe whose lands you now occupy?
Right.
And that if you're not going to do it, right, then, just going in and doing it part way isn't enough. And I think that people need to change the way that they think about what a land acknowledgement is.
Well, they stopped asking me to do land acknowledgements, because mine was always, give us our land back. Thank you very much. Drop the mic. Yeah, that's cool. And sometimes it's I guess what I want to say, it's not enough just to acknowledge it. And that's kind of what you're saying. And I want to just say that, because sometimes, and maybe not the people's fault that are giving or hearing or asking somebody to do the land acknowledgement, you feel better, and then you just move on, and then nothing really happens. And
Exactly. No functional change, no change in operations. It's still the status quo. But then you're acknowledging that the status quo is not sufficient.
Yeah.
This sucks, but
Yeah.
we acknowledge that it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. So let me just back up just a second here about Emerge Wisconsin. Is there information you can give to our listening audience? Because we're all over civic media in Wisconsin too, on how to contact you, website, Facebook, all those great things. What's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah. If you live in Wisconsin or are interested in what we're doing here in Wisconsin, you can go to our website. It's wi.emergeamerica.org, or look us up on Facebook. We are there, and across social media. You can Google us there. If you are in another state and are wondering about the program, and if there is an Emerge affiliate where you live, you can go to emergeamerica.org or Google Emerge, whatever your state's name is, and find out information on, first of all, if you have an Emerge affiliate in your state. If you do, what the timeline is for their trainings. And, the trainings that we offer are so substantial. You can go to organizations that do a great job of trying to condense everything into maybe a day or a few hours. But this is a 6-month training. And so it allows us to go more in depth and talk about things that are scary. I mean, talking about fundraising is a whole weekend because there's just so much stigma. And I think about how we as Native people are socialized to think about asking for help financially. And it's really hard to ask people to part with their money when there are things that they need to give. And the things that they need in order to just get through life. And talking about, how asking for fundraising or asking for funds for your election and your candidacy is not just, asking for money, just period. That's asking for support for you and what you believe in and how you can make things better for everybody. And it's it's very, very difficult. And I admit to still having problems, internally, asking for money. So
What's interesting too, so how did you get your start? Was Emerge part of your story too? Or
Oh,
how did you hear?
absolutely.
Oh, let's hear that.
Yeah. So I started working in politics. I was actually an intern when all of the Act 10 stuff happened, with Governor Walker taking away, collective bargaining rights from workers in public sector unions. And things just changed immediately. And the recall started. I started working as the Native outreach director to go talk to Native people about participating in the election. And I just kept meeting all of these remarkable women across the state who were affiliated with Emerge. And I applied to be a part of the class of 2014.
Wow.
I met some amazing people and still continually meet amazing people that are affiliated with Emerge, period, like in Wisconsin, but also nationwide. I mean, one of our alums from New Mexico is Secretary and former Congresswoman Deb Haaland.
Wow.
So
wow.
Yeah. So, and she was also the state chair of the New Mexico state Democrats. So, this education really not just teaches you the nuts and bolts, but also gives you connections of people to talk to relate to as you go through this journey. That's, campaigning's kind of weird, and it's nice to have people to talk to who've been through it or are going through it with you.
Wow. Hey, what about Charisse? How did she come about? I know she was in DC for a while there, but maybe we got to go for a break here. I'm getting crazy here. And you see, I have a picture of Deb Haaland in the background here in my mirror. Yes, I've met her a few times, and I don't think she remembers my name. But hey, we're with Arvina Martin, and we're talking about a lot of things here that have to do with Turtle Island and Wisconsin and Minnesota. And we'll be right back after this short break.
Stay with us.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl. J&S Bean Factory is a Native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Hi, Matt McNeil for Rudy Luther Toyota. You've heard me talk about the Rudy Luther Toyota We Buy program. Now hear from someone who's actually done it, me. Our kids' car, the 2006 Toyota Sienna, served us well for 17 years, but it was finally time to say goodbye. The We Buy program is really simple. I gave them some basic information. We set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they gave me an estimate and a check, and they made me a generous offer. It was that fast. See for yourself. Try the Rudy Luther Toyota We Buy program at rudyluthertoyota.com.
No matter if you're eating out or cooking something at home, eatlocalminnesota.com has you covered with a list of locally owned restaurants and food purveyors. Locally owned Vinaigrette has been offering the finest olive oil and vinegar since 2009. Reintroduce yourself to all the many flavors by tasting before you buy. From darker white balsamic to cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil from all over the world, there is something for everyone. Vinaigrette, located at 50th and Xerxes in Minneapolis, or at vinaigrettemn.com. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for fun. Enjoy the fantastic food like their pizzas, burgers, and sandwiches, the best bowling in Minnesota, their wildly popular outdoor patio, great drink specials, all the big games on their numerous screens, and it's the perfect place for your next private event, even large gatherings for over 200. The Park Tavern is your go-to destination for everyone. Have fun at the Park Tavern, Louisiana Avenue, north of Highway 7 in St. Louis Park.
Hey, it's Tom. Fossil fuels continue to have negative impacts on our environment. Luckily, there are more ways now than ever to use renewable energy in your home or business. All Energy Solar offers smart energy solutions like custom solar paneling, electric vehicle chargers, and energy storage. Solar panel systems can last for decades, meaning you can help the environment and cut back on electric bills for years to come. There are incentives and rebates available to most people who install solar energy, too. Last year, the federal solar tax credit increased to a 30% tax credit. This incentive can be used in combination with other incentives from your utility, county, or city. But don't delay or miss out, as many of these incentives are limited to only a certain number of people. So have a professional from All Energy Solar help you discover how solar can power up your property while saving on your energy costs. Call 800-620-3370 or visit allenergysolar.com.
With a look at your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Clearing skies tonight with a low of 58, then clouds move back in Tuesday with a high of 80. 30 Bales is a celebration of the best of everything Midwestern cuisine has to offer. Located on the corner of Main Street and 11th Avenue in Hopkins with plenty of free parking. More at 30bales.com.
Hey, welcome back to Data Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Development Institute in Minneapolis.
Yes, it is, and they do great work all over Turtle Island, and we're proud to have them as a supporter of Native Roots Radio. Hey, I'm here with Arvina Martin, and we were talking a little bit about Emerge Wisconsin, and it's always really great to have you on. Time really flies, but I was at the end of last segment, I was kind of mentioning our sister Charisse, and she didn't go through your program, but she was a fellow, right?
Yeah, she did a stint as a White House fellow out in DC and learned a lot. She really kicked Sheench out there.
Oh, wow. Hey, so you're an old friend with her, not old, I should say, a longtime friend. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so let's touch base a little bit about her, because I don't know if especially our people here in Minnesota know much about her.
She is again, former White House fellow. She is an attorney, and she also is a former mixed martial arts fighter, and she has quite an entrepreneurial spirit and has started businesses, and she's so dynamic and kind of is able to kind of have her, she's able to do so much, which is remarkable considering how many people in, not just her constituents in Kansas, but she kind of represents a lot of us here as a Native people, as a Native woman, as a member of the LGBTQ community. She really means a lot to a lot of different people.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And it's just great to support her and see that she was reelected. And because we always worry about these, purple states or red states that gerrymander us right out of the race. And I just want to give a quick shout out to Trisha Zunker too, because I think in Wisconsin that she got a gerrymander. I mean, I don't know. Can I put it like this? Is that the person that she was going up against who ended up winning, and she really picked up a lot of votes and made it closer to ever been, or it had been in a long time in that gerrymandered district. She was up against somebody that's literally crazy. Can I say that on the air?
I think you can. It's your show.
Oh, that's right. Ooh, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, well, that district was designed to keep the incumbent in office, and Trisha took on a huge. This was not just I'm going to decide to run for Congress. This is I am going to decide to run for Congress. And we've talked about fundraising and the difficulties with that. She raised so much money in a very, very difficult seat. And she worked her behind off. She really did a great job, and really tried to build coalitions of people that were not being heard and are still not being heard by their current congressmen. So, excuse me, she really did a fantastic job. And sometimes you talk about, if you're running in a race, what does a win look like that maybe isn't just winning the race? And I think that she was able to show viability of people in an extreme gerrymandered district, and as a female candidate and as a Native candidate, showed that the work can be done.
Yeah, and a Ho-Chunk candidate.
And a Ho-Chunk candidate at that too.
Exactly. So, we're talking about the diversity of what Charisse has done over the years, but I don't know if I should bring this up, but I want to bring this up. You have I don't know if it's a hobby or if it's a community or if it's a way of life, but you are a roller person.
Yeah, it's all of those things. It is all of those things. Yeah, I play roller derby. I'm currently rehabbing and getting myself back into shape to play. I broke my foot the day before election day last year, and then had some issues with the walking boot that caused that then kind of did some damage to my hips. So I've been rehabbing and trying to get my skate legs back. Hopefully I'll be skating in games soon. Under my derby name is Donna Stunner. I unabashedly love and unironically love disco music. So the Queen of Disco is who I took my derby name and my inspiration from. But I've been skating, I started skating maybe 12 years ago. Wow. I think. Yeah. And
so what position are you? Because aren't there, if I remember right, because I watched it as a kid on TV, and so are you a point scorer or a blocker? What is the terminology?
Yeah, I would be a blocker. We have 3 positions. There's blockers, there are jammers. Jammers are the ones that go and score points, and pivots are the ones that they're blockers. But if your jammer gets into a bind and needs to, we call pass the star, because her helmet cover has a star on it.
Yeah.
Pass that helmet cover to her pivot, and then her pivot can then take over. So pivots have to be good blockers and jammers. I like blocking, like getting in the way and just destroying some jammer's dreams of getting through. It's kind of like being on the line in football, offensive or defensive line, and you just got to grind in there and just, like I said, instead of a running back, it's a jammer, and you've just got to kill her dreams of getting through. And we have to play offense and defense at the same time.
Wow.
So this is the only sport that does that. So, while we're sitting there and not sitting there, but while we're playing and trying to hold their jammer back, there's 4 blockers, including the pivot. Sometimes we have to then go and help our jammer out and get her out and go play offense so she can get through the pack and come around for another scoring pass.
So what is it a time limit, and is it what's a typical score, and how long does it last? And I want to ask, where can people watch you do this?
Oh my goodness. So we divide the game of Derby into 2 halves. They're 30-minute halves, and a jam is what we call like a segment of play. A jam lasts up to 2 minutes.
Mhm.
And if your jammer gets out of the pack first and completely legally, she gets awarded lead jammer status, and she can call off the jam at any point. So, if she's jamming against somebody who, they know the other jammer is a top scorer, and you get through and score some quick points, then you tap on your hips, and the jam ends. So you can try to shut her out from the other scorer from scoring.
So
Yeah.
being the disco person, do you ever get to say a whamma jamma?
Oh, I'm gonna start.
I'm best whamma jamma. I don't remember who, but that's a disco song from the 70s.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And then where can people see you do this?
Well, definitely wherever you are, Google roller derby in your area. There are women's leagues. There are also men's leagues. There are also gender inclusive leagues that let everybody play. And I've played games against women. I've played games against men. I've played men or mixed leagues, and they're all a little bit different. So I would start by Googling that. Or looking up the Women's Flat Track Derby Association and seeing if there's any teams in your area. And you can either watch or come out and play. This is a sport that it doesn't require a particular body type. You can be big and tall and strong. You can be small and wiry and strong. And they're just, it's a sport that's a lot more inclusive than a lot of other sports.
So is it a part of I can't remember the name of the team in St. Paul, but there's a St. Paul team, and I know they've been on the show over the years, and
Yeah.
they're down at the Roy Wilkins.
Oh.
It's a pretty nice size place for roller derby.
And well known as the best venue in the country for roller derby.
Oh.
The Roy is very, very well known. That's where the Minnesota Roller Derby League skates.
Mhm.
I hope someday to be able to play in a game there. Fingers crossed. I still have time left in my career before my knees give out.
Oh, geez. But yeah, that's amazing. And so again, it's part of being in touch with who you are, and being physical, and that helps with your emotional,
Oh,
and all those
absolutely.
things, right?
Oh, absolutely. It is the best stress relief. Being able to knock around, first of all, being able to skate and being on wheels and just feeling the way you do when you skate, but also being able to just go in and give your all and be strong and hit your best friends in a very consensual manner. And in a way, when you knock your bestie on the ground, she gets up and be like, "That hurt. That was awesome.
All right.
Awesome, great job."
So is that a once a week thing? Because that sounds pretty physical. I mean, like football is once a week, baseball is many days because people don't throw the ball at you anymore or tackle you anymore like they did in the 1800s.
Yeah, well, it really depends on the league. Once a week, I mean, it kind of cost prohibitive to play actual games that often.
Mhm.
We may practice 3 times a week.
Oh.
And again, a lot of it is based on costs of venues and practice space and rink space and everything. But maybe once a month, or going to a tournament and playing like 4 games in a weekend. which is a lot.
That is. I want to watch this. This is great.
You'll have to come when I make my return to the
Right
track.
on. We'll have to do a live show.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. Hey, thanks so much for stopping in. It's always our pleasure here to hear the great news of what's happening in Wisconsin, but also really with your work in Emerge Wisconsin, and keep that going, because inch by inch it's a cinch, yard by yard it's hard, and you're in the right direction. And being an alumni, wow, it's just I really appreciate you having you on.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Hey, up next, Wendy with our Sacred Animals section. You're listening to Native.
Hey, Olgama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
Minnesotans age 65 plus might qualify for Health Partners Minnesota Senior Health Options. The plan includes personal support, coverage for medical, prescription drugs, and dental, plus over 30 extra benefits. Eligibility information is available at healthpartners.com/oneplan. Health Partners is a health plan that contracts with both Medicare and the Minnesota Medical Assistance Medicaid program to provide benefits of both programs to enrollees. Enrollment in Health Partners depends on contract renewal.
You hear a lot about Rudy Luther Toyota's hybrid cars, but maybe you're asking yourself, are they worth it? Let me say from experience, absolutely. I have a Toyota Sienna hybrid, and the proof is in the gas tank. Before my hybrid, I was filling up my tank once a week. Now it's consistently every 2 weeks. I did the math, and my hybrid is saving me over $1,000 every year. And the Toyota hybrids are some of the most stylish and comfortable vehicles you'll ever drive. Now's the time to get a Toyota hybrid. Set up a time to test drive one today at Rudy Luther Toyota, the southeast corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
If you've made the decision to level your home and build new or to renovate, hire Better Futures Minnesota to take it apart by hand. Think before you scrap. Think of the energy and greenhouse gases saved by diverting what can be reused and recycled from the landfill. Better Futures Minnesota can do it for you. Hennepin County residents and public entities, there are funds available to make the environmentally right thing to do comparable to demolition. Check out betterfuturesminnesota.com. That's betterfuturesminnesota.com.
This is Leonard Peltier. I am in Coleman 1 U.S. Penitentiary, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio.
Hey, welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is brought to you by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
Good one. Hey, let's get going, Wendy. I got my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy Pilot, and Wendy talks about our sacred animals here on Native Roots Radio, and I'm really looking forward to what you have prepared for us. Welcome, Wendy.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. My name is Hanaji. That means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level. It's always my pleasure to do that. So I was in the basement yesterday, and I don't know if you want to hear this or not, but I saw one of those creepy centipedes.
Oh, yeah, that's good thing, though.
I know. So one of those centipedes that go really, really fast, and they have a million legs, and they're really squirmy. But here's an article, and it's exactly what you just said, Robert. That's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why you should never kill a house centipede if you find one in your house.
I get them out of the sink and free them. because they get stuck.
Oh, they get stuck in the sink?
Slippery.
Oh, ew.
Okay.
So really, the centipedes often appear in dark, humid places. Often one finds them in the bathroom or basement, and nearly anyone would immediately want to squish them or run.
Boo.
But honestly, when
Maybe
I see them,
run.
I still I get the creeps, right?
You want
I know some of the things that make centipedes so terrifying to use are what make them efficient tools against other pests, right? They're fast and agile. Centipedes are helpful against other insects. So, with its many legs and quick movements, a centipede is a scary thing to find in your bathroom in the middle of the night. You will find it less scary when it lessens the number of roaches, spiders, and ants in your home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
I
centipedes.
like the roaches part.
Yeah.
Our sacred centipede portion of the show.
I know. Well, it's important not to kill them.
Right.
So centipedes eat all of these insects and also have a strong appetite, meaning they're almost guaranteed to help prevent other pest problems. Yeah. So some might still want to rid them. So what they want you to do is catch them in a container and bring them outside and put them someplace like on a rock or something where it's humid, and they'll keep doing their job while they're outside.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah. But house centipedes, unlike their relatives, are not poisonous and cannot even bite human skin. The tiny amount of venom they do produce can only hurt the small prey that they are so useful in eliminating. So I didn't know that they had venom in them, but they do. But yeah, isn't that crazy?
Super crazy.
I know. So I did see one the other day and I was like, oh, I can't kill it. And I just left it. Of course, I couldn't catch it because it goes so fast and then it, runs over underneath something and then you can never find it. But they say in another article that I read that once it rids itself of other pests in your house, like if you have ants or spiders or, roaches or whatever, they'll leave. Like they'll go somewhere, they'll leave. So
pack up their bags and
they do. They'll move away. They'll go to somewhere else where they could find stuff to eat. Yeah. So the other day I wanted to talk to you about cat headbutts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what does it mean and why do cats do it? So I have this article here. It's back written by Jane A. Kelly back in October 27th, 2020. But she says, I don't know about you, but one of my favorite feline gestures is the cat headbutt. Does Lucy a headbutt?
I tried a headbutt her and she won't headbutt me back.
Yeah.
She's more into talking to me and yelling at me.
Yeah. So this woman here said her own cat, Tara, headbutts her constantly when she's sitting on top of me. And half the time she knocks my glasses off my face when she does it. I don't mind the temporary inconvenience because I know what the cat headbutt means. Yeah. So first, what does the cat headbutt look like? The cat headbutt is not when cats stick their heads into other cats' butts. Although that could be another amusing definition. When the cat headbutts, she taps her head against you and rubs her cheeks along whatever body part she's near. Cats also headbutt objects like walls, chairs, and furniture. So why does the cat headbutt me? And what does it mean? So cats have scent glands all over their bodies, and they use them to leave marks on objects, including you. Yeah. According to cat behaviorist Pam Johnson Bennett, cat headbutting is typically used for bonding and social purpose. Yeah, for the cat to place his face so close to yours and engage in this bonding behavior is quite an act of trust, she says. Johnson Bennett also explains that this behavior is more properly called cat bunting. Yeah, people often inaccurately think that the cat cat headbutt is just a means of marking territory, but it's a lot more than that. Scent communication is complex, and while cats do use scent to mark their territory, cat bunting can also be used to create familiarity and show respect.
Always wanted to use that sound effect.
Yeah, that's a good one. You have a couple more on that thing, don't you?
That's when we get boring.
That's
the
when we
crickets
get
come
bored
out.
in this thing. Yeah. So Johnson Bennett also says that cat head bunting or butting may be attention-seeking behavior, particularly if your cat butts its head against you and then tucks it down or turns to its side.
Oh.
Yeah. Do cats headbutt other cats as well as people? Yes, they do. In fact, you'll often see feline friends rub one another with their heads. Not only does it create the colony scent, yeah, it helps the bonding as well. It's a measure of deep trust for another cat to put her head so close to one of her feline companions. So if you see your cat headbutt another cat, know that that means that they are buddies. Cat bunting is also seen in wild cats. So it's something that also comes to cats naturally through evolution.
Dog wants some attention.
Yeah, so there's somebody walking outside and I have the window open here. So why do some cats headbutt and others don't? Every cat is different. So don't worry if your cat doesn't headbutt you or your fellow felines. There's a lot of variation and the frequency and intensity of the headbutt. And there are tons of other ways that cats show affection. So, yeah. There's also something that people get confused by. So they want they're saying here, don't confuse a head pressing for head butting. Yeah, so head pressing is when the cat presses her head against a wall or a piece of furniture relentlessly. Yeah, often accompanied by abnormal vocalization or other odd behaviors like circling or
that's not a good thing.
A disorientation. Cat head pressing is a manifestation of a neurological disorder.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so don't get that confused. So our cat Lucy, sometimes like she'll come really close to us. I don't really remember her head butting me, but I'm gonna I'm gonna try and headbutt our cat Lucy and see. But she is very affectionate, and I know that she trusts us a lot. So
totally. We've had her since she was little.
5 months old. She's 17. Yeah, she's doing really well.
Giving her fluids.
We gave her subcutaneous fluids once a week because she has kidney failure, but she's doing really great. She's stable and she's doing well.
Hey, Wendy, I want to thank Arvina Martin to stopping by, and of course with you with the sacred animal section and what is it, sacred centipede section this
don't
week.
Kill your house centipedes.
Right.
They will do your house good.
Hey, thanks for listening. And then, I want to give a shout out to Wanda, who was on the show tonight too.
Yeah, she was. She gave a little her little talk there.
Exactly. Hey, we'll be back tomorrow. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
Now.